This week on Daddy Eats Last, we're telling stories from our past, stories which have involved alcohol. In later episodes, we will be discussing issues that we have had with alcohol and the effect it may have had on us. But for now, enjoy this episode and please drink responsibly. For more facts, visit drinkwise.org.au.
Daddy Eats Last. Daddy Eats Last. Daddy Eats Last. Munch, munch, munch.
Hello and welcome to Daddy Eats Last, where we discuss the challenges of being a man in modern society and whatever the hell that even means. I'm Kane, and joining me today to chat man stuff are Maddie, and live from Las Vegas, Ryan. How's Vegas?
Vegas is another world, buddy. Got here on Monday after a few days in LA, and I have not gone to bed at the same day that I have gotten up the whole time that I've been here. So
That is impressive.
This place is insane. I think I'll be hurting in a few more days, and it never sleeps. It's an unreal world, and everything's just big. Everything is big. I think that's just America, but yeah, everything's over the top.
Well, I actually have friends who go every year or every second year, and they meet up. They all were from Australia. They worked in London. A few people come across from London. They all meet in Vegas every year or every second year. I never understood it, but seeing some of the photos they've been posting online, and then some of the stories you've told me as well, it seems like everything people say about Vegas is true. Like every day is like the Hangover film.
And more. So we got in on a Monday, and I closed out Monday night at like 4 a.m. thinking that it was like a Saturday long weekend back home and everyone was going nuts. And then woke up on a Tuesday, which I am over here for some work as well. So that's been a bit of a struggle, getting up for like 8 a.m. the next day for a conference and going, oh, it's Tuesday. And then doing the same again Tuesday night and Wednesday night. And tonight we're off to, I think Nelly's playing at one of the top nightclubs here, and we've got tickets for that. And yeah, it's unreal here. Unreal.
Did you say Nelly? It's getting hot in here, Nelly?
Yeah, yep.
Really?
R&B superstar Nelly. So yeah, it's there's shows every day, and because it's now Friday over here, there's even more and more people coming here. So it's just getting insane. So I think by Sunday, I'll be very happy to get over to Vancouver and have some detox days.
Well, I've heard you might need the coffee. I've heard that the coffee in Vancouver and Canada is significantly better than US coffee. So yeah, by then you'll probably need a bucket.
The coffee over here is absolutely shit house. That's Vegas's downfall. Did the Grand Canyon this morning, so that was really good. But yeah, it's just been absolutely unreal. So I've messaged some buddies back home. We're already gonna plan some Bucks parties and maybe do what your friends do. Come over here sort of every 2 years and let loose.
I can understand that. And in the spirit of being in Las Vegas, I thought this week we'd talk about, I guess, different stories where we've had a couple to drink or whatever, and we're de-stressing that. Maybe we've had one too many, and maybe we'll tell some stories about, I guess, some of the times we've gone a little bit over the edge. I'm happy to lead off because I do remember a story from years and years ago. And this all came about from Ryan being in Vegas and letting me know that he'd got home at 4 a.m. And my better half saying, oh, when was the last time you ever did that? And I said, honestly, maybe 10 years ago. But I could pinpoint the date because it was actually a Pearl Jam concert at Adelaide Oval must have been late 2009. And I flew across with a friend, and we turned up at Adelaide Airport at 8 a.m. one morning and walked through Adelaide Airport and stopped at the Hungry Jack's there, and I got my default breakfast, which I'd get at Hungry Jack's. I basically like a sausage and egg McMuffin if it was McDonald's, but in a wrap form with barbecue sauce and a hash brown. We get there at 8 o'clock. Gig's not until 8 p.m. At the earliest, so we've got 12 hours to kill. So we head straight to the casino in Adelaide, just have a couple of drinks there at 8 o'clock in the morning, have what my friend who was traveling with me termed a life-saving hamburger at around 10 a.m. Probably the best hamburger I've ever had in my entire life. Kill a bit more time, get to about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we've had a bit to drink by then. We think, oh, we better have a sleep. And we hadn't booked a hotel room. And my mate said to me when we arrived in Adelaide, he goes, you didn't book a hotel room, did you? I've gone, no, I didn't. Did you? No, neither did I. So we get to Adelaide Oval at about 4 o'clock, and we just go, well, the sun's out. There's not many people around. There's a few people lining up at the merch stand, and my mate had bought a T-shirt, and we go, okay, let's just have a bit of a kip. So we just lay down in Adelaide, at Adelaide Oval outside in the grass in the warmth, and just had a bit of a lie down for an hour, and then roll into the gig. And I think Ben Harper might have been supporting, and West End light beer is the worst beer ever. So we basically would dry through the entire concert. So we sobered up a little bit, and then that finished about 10:30, and we said, well, okay, what are we going to do now? We've not booked a hotel room. Back to the casino? Yep. So went to the casino at sort of 10:30, 11 o'clock, and got out of there at 2 or 3, and went back to the airport. Finished up at the same Hungry Jack's literally 24 hours later, ordering the same thing from the same person. A little bit inebriated, in the same clothing. Ate about half of said meal, and I've gone, this is, in the middle's frozen. What a frozen wrap thing and a frozen half hash brown. And this is terrible. So I'm half inebriated. And I just said to my mate, I said, I don't take this back. He goes, you can't take it back. You've eaten half. I've gone, that's not the point. It's frozen. Even though I've eaten half, or probably 51%, which means, technically I've eaten more than half of it, I'm taking it back. So I take it back and I say, listen, it's just frozen in here. They go, well, you've eaten half. I've gone, you touch it. You touch my wrapper. You touch my hash brown. Frozen. I can't eat any more of this. So they gave me a replacement one and sent me on my way. We bought a flight to go back to Melbourne at, it's like the first flight back. So 7:30 from Adelaide, would get back into Melbourne at sort of 8:15. And it's one of the ones where you have to walk out onto the tarmac and walk up onto the plane. We sit down and we're in, 43D or 43E or something up the back. And there's a little 7-year-old girl behind me, and she's kicking the chair, and she's talking about show jumping. So she got a bit of a plum in her mouth, and show jumping this, show jumping that. And I said to my mate, I've gone, talks about show jumping. What the show jumping? So we've been sitting here for about 30 minutes while everyone's boarded, with this 7-year-old just banging on about show jumping. We've not slept for the best part of a day. And the flight attendant walks up. She goes, gents, you're in the wrong seats. We boarded in the wrong seats, just kind of like talking quite loudly about this 7-year-old talking about show jumping, and we shouldn't have been sitting there. Anyway, arrive back in Melbourne, go home, 15 minutes at home, have a shower, go to work the next day. Work from, so I got into work admittedly a bit late at 9:30, work from 9:30 until 5 o'clock, and then had a board meeting for a community radio station at the end of the day. So I roll up to that after not having slept for 36 hours. But that's the last time I've been up since 4 a.m. and that was kind of an all-nighter. So it's a bit more than 4 a.m. Yeah, that's my story when I went a little bit too far, but that was all on the back of not booking a hotel room when maybe we really should have.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not sure that I'm going to lie down in Vegas anywhere, or that being said, just in America anywhere for a nap outside.
It's Radelaide. Not much could happen in Radelaide.
No, city of churches. But it's amazing how like enticed with justice and stubbornness you can get when you've had a few drinks. Like when you were talking about the Hungry Jacks and the frozen, and how after you've had a few drinks, you just become really stubborn and like justice and go, I'm going to fight for this, right?
Exactly right. You know what? It's just not right. Not right that I got served frozen food, even though I've eaten most of it.
Oh, that's gold.
And you've ruined that little girl's show jumping career forever. She hasn't jumped since.
I don't know. There's like 1% of the population, or like 0.1% of the population, who either like show jumping, do show jumping. And it just happened to be on that particular day, on that particular flight, that particular person happened to be sitting behind two buffoons. But like it was just the shrill voice and show jumping non-stop. And admittedly, we weren't even meant to be sitting in that seat. So if you're out there, young girl who'd now be probably 18 and no longer in show jumping because of us, I do apologise.
Clearly.
And if my little fella ever gets into show jumping, I will fully support you. That's one of my stories. But does anyone else want to share a time where they maybe gone a little bit over the edge?
Yeah, I'll go. Funnily enough, this story sort of also includes that same mate, Kane, that you had.
The common denominator.
Common theme here. So back in the day, we used to generally finish work, and there used to be a pub next door. We used to hit up that for a good 5-6 hours, then make our way to a place called Arcadia in South Yarra. corner of Toorak and Punt. That address will never leave me. And then after that, we'd end up at the Cats. But this one time we've gone to Arcadia, and generally you roll out of there when it finishes about 3:30. The lights come on with a bit of Johnny Farnham, You're the Voice, and then it's used to be a place called BB&T's down in South Yarra. So it hasn't been there for quite a while, but it's on Toorak Road, and I think it's about a K and a half from the Arcadia, heading away from the city. So we've gone down there, and I used to live with said mate Kane at the time, as you remember. We used to live in South Bank. We used to have a little nice deck or balcony out the front, and he had a table out the front. So this will become relevant in a second. We were at BB&T's, and we've ordered the copious amounts of food as you do. We're sitting out the front. I'm looking at this lovely wooden umbrella that's about 2 meters high, sitting there in the table. And I said to our mate, we could use that. And he's going, what are you talking about? I said, I reckon we can get this home. So after a bit of thinking and planning how we'd get it home, it'd be too big for a cab, so that was out of the question. Ubers weren't around back in those days. So I said, look, you keep guard. I'll see what we can do. So I ripped it out of the table, and I've just hot-footed it as fast as I could, just turned the first left, I think it was, straight down an alleyway, and I could hear footsteps chasing, someone yelling in the background, "Oh, get that back, what are you doing?" And I wasn't going to give it back because we need an umbrella pretty badly. It was coming into summer. So I've hid for a little bit, thought the coast was clear, and then I'm thinking, oh, this thing weighs a ton. How am I going to get it back all the way to South Bank? Which would have been maybe 2 or 3K, 4 o'clock in the morning. I had the cover of darkness on my side, so that was handy. So for the next, I reckon it took probably 2 hours, I've made my way back down Toorak Road, through a few back alleys here and there. I've come to the botanicals and thought, great, I can get through here. No one will be able to see me, so this will be nice and this will be handy. So I'm walking through there, and then I didn't even know where my mate was. And this was before there was, Google Maps on your phone, before smartphones. So it was the old, other phone. So I'm ringing my mate, didn't know where he was. And he just turns up out of the blue in the botanicals. I'm thinking, great, where have you been? So he helps him with the umbrella. We start walking down South Bank Boulevard, and we get it back there, plonk it in, perfect fit. And thinking, this is the greatest night ever. We've had a BB&T's, we've come back with an umbrella. The next morning, though, we used to walk out on the balcony, have the 6 a.m. dart. I'm looking at this thinking, oh, what have I done? I feel so terrible. These things cost a fortune. But in the end, we've had a lot of parties out there with that umbrella there, and it all worked out in the end. So a bit of a thief story.
I just like that you outran people with a ton of umbrella on your shoulder. The superhuman strength of 150 bourbons under your belt gave you the ability to outrun somebody with a ton of umbrella on your shoulder. That's impressive.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from. It's like one of those stories you hear, when a child, is in danger and a mother can lift, twice her weight or something like that. That just must have, I must have channeled that inner energy and just, yeah.
So what happened when you moved out? Like, did you take the umbrella back and give it to them, or were you?
No, I should have done it actually, but I think they'd closed down by then. But I took it back to mum and dad, and it's still sitting there.
They closed down because some bastards stole their umbrella.
Yeah, they couldn't afford to replace it. Yeah, well, they couldn't afford to replace it. Yeah, they lost all the customers who used to sit outside under it.
Oh, on the demise of BB&T's.
That first pub that you mentioned where you used to go and drink for 5 or 6 hours or however long it was after work on a Friday, I vaguely remember that you may never have actually ever bought a beer there or any drink, and you were just basically subsidised with drink cards there by the owners or the bar staff who you did tax returns for, even though you weren't actually an accountant.
That is all true. Yes, all true. So I don't even know how that came about, but I started, doing the tax returns for one of the managers there. I'm pretty sure early on I stipulated, look, I am not a qualified CPA CA, but she was happy for me to keep doing it, and the reward was a stack of drink cards every Friday night when I went down there. So obviously I'd keep 90% of the pile for myself and dish out the other 10% to the everybody else who was there. But yeah, I went a good probably 4 or 5 years. I was working at that place for 9 years, so yeah, a good 4 or 5 years without buying too many beverages. So
that's fantastic.
Well done. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess I should share something. I suppose it's probably good to point out that I guess we're sort of having this chat because it normalizes that it's okay to go over the edge sometime, provided that maybe not encourage theft here, but provided that you don't break the law or anything, because you do get to points where you're like distressed or you just need to blow off some steam. So, but as everything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, I won't share a Vegas story, although there's already quite a few. But I only go back to when a couple of years ago now, I went and lived in Hong Kong for a while, doing an exchange there in my last year of uni. And then after that, I was supposed to go back for a uni placement, but I deferred that and went and backpacked China solo. Now, 22, 6'1", German family background and bright blonde hair, backpacking China without speaking any Chinese is probably not the best thing to do solo. But anyway, so I was doing this trip and having a great time. Not sure, like catching overnight trains, and not sure whether I was going to lose a kidney or other stuff like this. And if I do have children, I hope they don't hear this, because I'm not encouraging any of this stuff for them. And my mum was very worried. But it was towards the end of the trip, and I think I was up in Xi'an, so the top old part of China. Nobody can speak English or anything. And no, it must have been when I was 21. So yeah, the year of the 21st, and back home in Perth. And I've been away for a while, so I was feeling a bit down. I was a bit over the travel. And back, there was a really big 21st party that all my friends were going to. And I knew that everybody was going to be there. And I was in some dingy hostel backpacker Saturday night at 9:30, drinking a beer by myself, going, this is just depressing as shit. And I had a 6 a.m. flight the next day to go to Shanghai for like 4 days before I went home. So I was really getting close to coming home. Have a few beers, as you do, and then you become a bit stubborn and a little bit injusticed. And I'm like, you know what? Nah, screw it. It's about 10:30 at this stage. I'm like, everyone else is having a good time. I'm gonna go have a good time. So I just walk out, 10:30 at night, dingiest hostel in a back alleyway, and just hail down somebody with a pad. Can't speak any Chinese or anything like that. Just as you do, mime word language or whatever, pretty much indicating I just want to find a place with a beer. Went to one place with a beer, had a drink or two there, and that wasn't that good. But then ended up talking to a tourist, and they're like, "Hey, you should go check this place out." So I got another scootery thing, went over there, and got an elevator up to like the 25th, 26th floor or something. So it was like this real luxe place. Now it's also summer in China, and I am in singlet and shorts, and I've walked into this venue and everyone is suit and dressed to the nines. I'm like, shit, this is probably not the place I should be. But by that stage it was like 12:30 and I was half gone. So I'm like, oh, I'll have one beer here and then I'll go back, get a few hours sleep, get on my plane to Shanghai. Guy comes up, who's the manager. Now he's got dyed blonde hair and he's loving the fact that I'm blonde, and he can speak a bit of English. And he's like, I'm manager. And I had a look at their drinks menu and it was like $20 for a Heineken or something like that. And I was like, this is bullshit. I was a poor uni student, clearly looking at a place. And he goes, no, I'll put you on a tab. I go, okay. Just poor uni student. So anybody offers you a free beer, you definitely take that. So I got on a tab and he goes, as long as you stay here, you can drink for free the entire night, whatever you want. And I was sitting there going, this is weird. This is weird. Now, this is back in China when everything was like hidden, so you couldn't Google or anything like that. And all these people are staring at me, and it was weird because they were playing out, like, not our music, but normal R&B sort of hip hop music and that kind of thing.
Were they staring at your kidneys? Where your kidneys are? Or
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that they would have wanted my kidneys after the amount of beers.
Good point. Your liver was clearly shot.
So I get this bucket of Heineken and start talking to these people, purely body language conversation because they couldn't speak a word of English, and start dancing. And I like to have a dance. I'm having a good time. It's like 2 a.m. I haven't paid for anything here. And this guy comes up to me and goes, hey, buddy, let's have a drink. And he could speak English. And he was Chinese from exchange in America. And then he goes, come to this area. So we go behind the Velcro thing. And now I'm filled with all these guys in three-piece suits. And I'm having whiskey with them. I'm talking to this guy and he's on exchange and he's like, yeah, having a good time. So we drink for the next couple of hours. And then I realize, one, I've got a flight, and two, who are all these guys that literally look like they own the place? I start talking to him and he goes, sorry, I leave and go to the main bar and I'm talking to my other friend that I'd met at the bar. And he's miming to me and he basically indicated to me that I was drinking with Chinese mafia. And like, this is 26th floor, we're in a VIP Velcro area, I'm in shorts and a shirt, looking absolutely nuts. And yeah, and then I look around and start seeing all these guys that are standing there in black suits with Uzis or machine guns or some shit all tucked in their pockets. And I was like, oh fuck. Actually, sorry, we shouldn't swear on that. But anyway, I was like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. I've been drinking stupid expensive whiskey with the mafia and have not paid for a single thing. And it's 4:30 in the morning. I was like, I'm going to the bathroom. Went to the bathroom with that new friend that could speak American. And I've literally just beelined and bolted to the elevator, knocked over, I was pretty sure it was a bottle of like Chandon or Moe or something on the way. It's just shattered. Dived in this elevator and hit ground, got a scooter, hightailed it out of there, walk into the dorm, grab my bag, check in for the 6 o'clock flight to Shanghai. And that was a bad flight. Hungover as hell.
Oh, you'll never be able to go back to that city. Your name's probably your face is probably plastered everywhere.
Be absolutely blacklisted, standing out like anything there. So yeah, I was very, very grateful I had a flight out of there straight away.
Oh my God.
That's way more dangerous than, you know, half teasing a 7-year-old or stealing an umbrella. That's intense.
Yeah, so moral of the story is sometimes when you're a uni student, free beers isn't that great.
We've all been there. Admittedly, not with Chinese mafia, but we've all been there where free beers been dangerous.
Exactly.
Well,
but hey,
love your sense of adventure though, Ryan.
Yeah, I then spoke the next day, much later after I got some sleep. I was like, how was the party? And everyone was like, yeah, it was pretty good. How was your night? How's China? I'm like, yeah, just a couple of quiet drinks. Just kept it down low. They were like, yeah, we closed out about 2 a.m. What about you? I'm like, about 4:30, but that's fine.
Actually, oh man. As you touched on at the start of it, when you mentioned it is an important subject to discuss as well. Like, we all let off steam, and everyone lets off steam in different ways, and part of that sometimes is partaking in alcoholic beverages, but it is important to drink responsibly. And eventually, I think everyone kind of grows out of the binge drinking stuff to some extent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, while it is part of de-stressing, it's important just to drink responsibly.
Yeah, no, I mean, you touch on a good point. Like, it's good to be responsible in that, but it's also probably one of the things that I used to do was, if I had a night like that, or even being here in Vegas and that kind of thing, is so not feeling too bad and that kind of thing, because once in a while it is just good to, you know, whether you do have alcohol or not, or even if you just, whatever your thing happens to be, just to blow off some steam and kind of let yourself do that, I think is something that's probably not done too much, because you do stuff like this and then you feel really guilty and that kind of thing. And as long as it's all safe and within fair and reasonable limits and you're not doing it often, I think it's actually somewhat healthy to do.
And generally the next day it's like, oh, I'm never drinking again.
Yeah, how many times have we all said that? I'm never drinking again.
Oh, too many.
Alrighty, that about wraps it up for this week. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week for another episode, or should I say, one single serving of Daddy Eats Last. How's that for a dad joke? Catch you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.